And I'm glad that we have the number of attendees today for our virtual interactive short course. I'm here to introduce one of our expert speakers, Cindy Novotny. She is, amongst other things, known as a radical mentor, a consultant, a speaker, an author, executive facilitator, and she's the managing partner and founder of Master Connection Associates. She's been recognized throughout our industry many times, and she's an international icon. Sydney has continued to push back throughout COVID, and while many of us, really had to lock down and readjust how we operate a lot of our businesses and roles, she really went through and figured out how to make us thrive, make her clients thrive, and she's here today to share a lot of her wisdom with us. In addition to Sydney, we have Doug Horn, who is over a 40-year veteran in the hotel industry. He's worked with Wyndham Hotels and Marriott Hotels, a lot of the bigger scale properties. He currently serves on the THLA board. He also has been a past chair of the Texas Hotel and Lodging Association. And in addition to that, he's also chaired our short course. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and pass over to Doug Horn to make some introductory remarks, and then we'll kick it off.
Thank you, Neil. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a great afternoon. Things are starting to loosen up a little bit, and that's one of the reasons that we picked this date to be able to put it forward to you. This is a free meeting of the short course in a kind of a special setting so that you can participate and get a good feel on what short course does. We have a star who is going to be presenting the sales efforts as necessary. I've known Cindy for a good number of years, at least 20. Back to the PHM days and early days of Wyndham. And she was excellent then. She's going to be excellent now. We're going to have two more sessions, one's in summer and one in the fall, that are again free. And we certainly hope that you will pass it along so that more people can attend. And then think about what's going to take place when we have short course and live sessions again at the University of Houston, because those will take place hopefully next January. We will let you all know when that does, and you will be able to really experience a face-to-face program. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Cindy Novotny. Cindy, teach us everything you can.
All right. Well, welcome to all of you from wherever you're calling in from. I'd also like to introduce Kim Pung from my team. She is on. Will also help address any questions if they come into the chat box. But I'm sitting right now in sunny Napa Valley, California, working at the Shandong Winery. I mean, that's what the hospitality industry does. It allows us to be in so many different industries, whether it's real estate, whether it's hotels, whether it's wineries or restaurants. I'm fortunate that I'm a partner in a restaurant in Orange County, California, that we did push and we kept open. I mean, we are in California, not Texas, so it's a little different here. And I really want to say that for all of you listening, I know there's some people that are just starting out in the industry. I know there's people that have been in this business a long time that maybe want to move from operations to sales or have gone into catering. And, for some of you, you were doing it all. You were, cleaning rooms and checking people in for a while and answering, inquiries. But now it's time to really jumpstart our selling. And that's the sense of urgency. It's now in innovation. It's about totally everything creative we did during COVID. The customer is not going to let us get off the hook that easy. They're not going to say, oh, well, now we're back to normal. So if we were so creative and served, a great picnic in the park because they couldn't eat in a restaurant, people are still going to want a picnic in the park. So it can't be like, well, that was during COVID and now we don't do picnics in the parks. Well, you bought all those baskets, so figure it out and understand that although everyone in the entire world, when have we ever had a pandemic? Not in my lifetime, not in Doug's, that we've had something global. We've had things that have hit different parts of our world, like Europe or Asia or the US. We've had wars, financial crisis, all kinds of things. But never once did we have anything that took us all down, really. Shut us all down. So kiddingly, we say we're all kind of having a grand opening. Not everybody got renovated, but everybody was able to clean up everything. And now we're having this grand opening. And I do believe that business and sales specifically is about practicing. It's about always literally shining yourself up. And today really is about being consciously confident. You know, I think of it this way. You have to have a very clear intention of what you're doing in life. No matter what, if you're in a restaurant, if you work for a theater, if you work for a winery, if you work for a hotel, if you're in property management or you work for an owner group, at the end of the day, it's never been more crystal clear to be completely spot on with your skill and selling. If you can sell, you will always have a job. You can't start a restaurant. If you're a chef, if you're a cook, a line cook right now, but you want to be a chef, you can say, I've got a great idea for a restaurant. You still got to fill it. All right. Even during unbelievably good times. See, the key is everybody goes back to zero when the rules change. And now as we're coming out of this, and you know, if you're from Texas, you know, you came out of it in a definitely better and faster way than some of us around the country. But I look at some people and I get that this has worn us all out. Okay. Whether you were furloughed and then you came back or you stayed working the whole time, it really did wear us out. And so our goal and objective is that we have to be able to embrace this journey like never before. So when I think about recharging, re-energizing, refocusing, it's about this journey. I want you, when you're off this session today, to be the most curious individual in the world. I honestly think the reason I got where I am today is I never acted like a know-it-all. And to this day, I don't, because I sit back sometimes, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. How's that working, right? I'm also so open. I mean, there are people that are so closed down. There are people that are like, well, we don't do it that way. It can't be done that way. And I think to myself, all right, again, we're still in COVID. I mean, I just saw the CDC came out and said, oh, wow, if you got vaccinated, you can now be out without your mask if you're walking alone. And I'm thinking about Texas and I'm like, wow, I think they already are. And of course, I'm still in California. And, you know, people are riding their bikes with their mask on, but I'm vaccinated, so clearly can take mine off. But I have a positive outlook of the future. I'm very deliberate in where we're going. My team, I always talked about our today team and our tomorrow team. When COVID hit on March 16th, I was in Dubai. I was giving a huge presentation to a group of event planners. I was staying at the Armani Hotel. I was supposed to stay 2 more days. The general manager, who's my friend, called me and said, yeah, you got to leave today. And I said, like why? Well, they're shutting Dubai down. And I was like, oh, you know, now I've been through H1N1, swine flu, bird flu, Zika. I'm like, really? Really? So I too had to push myself. And that's what all of you have to do. It is all about really reinventing who you are. I mean, sitting back and just saying, you know, this is the cards I was dealt. No, it doesn't work that way. You know, this is your opportunity to take a look at who you are and where you want to go in the future. Now, Doug and I have known each other and we worked together many years ago. I mean, we're the real warriors. We've been through it all. But Doug, let me just take a moment, if you'll unmute yourself right now and just, you know, share, how have you actually reinvented yourself?
Well, I mean, you have to realize we work for a company. One, I was an unstructured company that got merged with a very structured company. And that was a new beginning for us because Patriot American had a whole bunch of properties that it bought, nearly about 55 of them. And then we merged in with Wyndham and it became a really change in culture. And you had to be able to find a way to be able to work the best you possibly could between the two cultures that were there. This, as Cindy said, is a brand new opening for everybody. Everybody's starting over again. This is ground zero. I mean, if you take a look at Houston alone, Houston's occupancy was down in the 20% range. I knew general manager friends of mine who were mopping floors. So this is an opportunity for you to go back in and say, okay, how can I do better? How do I reinvent myself? Did I learn my clients well enough? Do I know enough about them? It's the same thing. I moved over in the condominium business and I now run a 4-star condominium. And every day I look at myself and ask, how can I make this person's life better? What do I need to do? So I learn the people that are in this building, their wants and needs, and you're in sales, you're going to end up doing the same thing.
Yeah. And as Doug said, you know, he's just because people buy a condominium and they're managing it, those are customers that they become vigilantes. I want this, I need that. And the more you engage with your customers and the more you talk to them, That's how you reach out to these existing clients. So again, it doesn't matter what side of the business you're on. I started in housekeeping, then food and beverage, and then I went into catering and special events, and then I went into sales. Then I worked for Disney and Westin and Sheraton and all these hotels where I always was engaging with clients. What is their issue? What can I do to help you? So when I think about reaching out, you look at these existing customers and you go, what is the value proposition? What can I do? It's not like you have to write this down, but like I will give you an example. I won't say where it happened, but at a resort recently, because I'm on the road working, I literally said, I try not to eat a ton of French fries. It's been kind of a COVID moment. So I ordered like the steak free, and it comes with this massive amount. So for some reason, I think like the little onion, the tiny ones are less fattening than the French fries, probably the same. They're not the big onion rings, but I simply said, can I just swap out the little onion straws? Because it was on the menu for the French fries. No, I said, okay, you have the onion straws. Well, you can buy an extra. So she brings me, now I'm with Mary from my team who like is this big and eats like a gazillion French fries. So I said, well, you can just eat my fries, Mary, because I'm now going to pay extra for the onion straws. So sure enough, my steak comes on this massive plate, this tiny little piece of meat with nothing on it. I said, where's my French fries? She goes, well, you said you didn't want them. I said, no, I just said I was going to order. I ordered onion straws. So now I got gypped and she was going to eat my fries because she didn't order the fries. So I want the fries. You see, that is a value proposition. If you're a server and you work for some chef that is so craziness, all right, that's fine. The customer said they'll pay for the onion straws. Then make sure you over deliver. But Doug, let me ask you at this point too, with the resident community experience, I think probably, and I'm not sure, but you can share, I'm sure some of the residential kind of buildings, and depending if high rise or low rise or, campus style, some of the amenities were shut down, people were in isolation, but now everybody's coming back to the community. So any things you're seeing that people are wanting?
Well, people generally, the class of the individuals that stay in this building are all AAA. And, we try to deliver 4-star service. I've got a hotel that nobody checks out of, basically, is what I'm running right now. And what their expectations were outside of COVID, then coming in and having to be restricted to going out made it that much worse because they examined everything that you did. And your expectations that you had to use to deliver maybe this high or now through the roof because they're there every day, 24 hours a day, and you had to cater to that. So going back to the hotel side of the game, it was always better to make sure that you can truly anticipate what was happening. Here we had to do the same thing. Familiarity made the difference. So if you're out there on the sales side and you're working in the marketplace, you got to know what your competition's doing, got to know what everybody else is offering and how you can be a little different and substantiate yourself away from the rest of them.
Exactly. And that's where where everybody got so creative and did all these picnics in the park and outdoor theaters and, for the kids and making it fun. Like here at the wineries in Napa, there's so many things they did because they couldn't do tasting rooms anymore and they couldn't do the things they did before. Well, no one wants to go back. People actually don't want to push through to a tasting room now. They love the reservation and sitting down and they have the areas, the tents for the kids to go to because it is kind of funny. They bring so many kids to wineries. You do have to laugh about that because, they are, it isn't a restaurant, but that's all right. So knowing that, I think everyone has to be very deliberate in their outreach. So we know that based on all of our research and what we've done, 84% of business decisions are made with referrals. And we call that in-group bias. It's like, you go to your friends. You're going to go to your friends before you're going to listen to maybe a Yelp review. You're going to go to your friends. What restaurant should we go to? What should I do? My kids are thinking about going to this camp. Do you like the camp? You're going to listen to people. So as you continue to meet people, if I look at it this way. And again, I'm sorry to be using my teaching bubbly right now, but this is it. I'm not pouring you a glass of sparkling wine. We can't say champagne because we're not in France. I'm not pouring you a glass of sparkling wine. What I'm doing is I'm creating happiness. You don't have to celebrate a birthday or an anniversary, but I've got to listen to people, because not everybody that comes to the winery is in a good mood. There's some people that have gone through a lot of problems. So listening to people in every part of their life and staying in front of them is important. But you have to be present. We have people that we are working with right now that just went dark. They just went dark. And if you're retired and you're not working or something, okay, fine. But even my 87-year-old mother didn't go dark. I mean, she's all over Facebook, giving her 2 cents about everything and on and on and on. The idea is, it takes about 6 to 7 times to touch a prospect before they ever become a customer. Even for our restaurant, one of the things, our restaurant now is 15 years old, and we are very proud of the fact that we've stayed in business in a fickle place like Orange County, California. And we, at the very beginning, we knew that it was going to take a lot of touches because, people are fickle. It's like, oh, you make one in a new restaurant, you make one mistake, they're never coming back. Maybe after a year or two, and people go, no, it's really good. So we gave gift cards out, just $10 gift cards. If we were sold out and we couldn't get them in and they didn't make a reservation because we are busy, we would just hand them a $10 gift card and say, we're so sorry we couldn't get you in. Now, remember, it wasn't our fault. We didn't do anything. They didn't make a reservation. But early on, 15 years ago in Orange County, it wasn't like New York City. People weren't used to making reservations. That $10 gift card bought us so much loyalty. So even if you're selling events or you're working in catering, it takes about 23 dials, and not just dials, touch points. It could be, texting them, DMing them on, Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn messaging. But now during COVID, we know it's been so much easier, and I'll tell you why. We have done a lot with the consumer. So we have been talking to meeting planners, event planners, just, here at the winery. I did an entire interview yesterday with a bunch of actual club members that belong to wine clubs. And I said, prior to COVID, what was your response time of getting back to anybody calling from a hotel or a restaurant or a winery? Was it 10%, 12%? And literally it was like, they said, I barely ever talked to them. I was so busy. But during COVID, they're talking to everybody. They want to know what's going on. So your goal is to be, as Doug said, way better than the competition and much stronger. So I'm going to have, the team's going to put up a poll. How many touch points are you making with prospective customers each week? So 0 to 10, 10 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100, 100 plus. So we see a bunch coming in. We'll just wait a minute. We're getting, okay, this is good. This is good. We got,
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. They're coming in. They're still popping in.
Still popping in. So we'll give everyone about 20 more seconds, maybe. Make sure everybody gets a chance to vote. Slowing down a little, so.
All right, so we can go ahead and end the poll and share the poll results with everybody. So we'll share the results, and you'll see the biggest winner was 10 to 25 touch points a week, which is really pretty good. We're going to push you to 100, but those of you that are at that point, you're doing really good. Those of you that are 0 to 10, you have some work to do. So we'll stop sharing the results on that, and we will continue to move on what we really need to do to really take a good look at how you do increase your visibility. If you want to go ahead, those of you, you answered, like about 70, some of you answered. How are you increasing your own visibility? Now, this is a selfish thing I'm asking you, just, not selfish for me, selfish for you, because it doesn't matter what job you have to be very present in the marketplace. If you work for a restaurant, it means putting great pictures of a cocktail or a great dish out is being very visible. And Kim.
Yeah, to that point, we just had a question from one participant said, I'm an educator of hospitality students. The poll really didn't apply to me. So I think it speaks to what you're saying is in any job, what are some ways that this individual in hospitality education can be reaching out and having touch points?
Okay, so yeah, you can. So the educator, that is huge for you because we want to keep our industry robust. So for you, it would be touch points on LinkedIn. It would be touch points on Instagram and start building your following. Why hospitality? Why hotel? First of all, I do a lot of work with several of the hotel schools where, Kim and I, in fact, did the Swiss hotel schools, I think, for like 3 weeks during, EHL. I mean, we did them literally like really, they were ones that we did early in the morning, right, Kim? Then we did the Asia, because EHL just opened hotel schools in Asia as well. And here's the thing, we recruiters, educators, putting things out there. Did you know that I'm making this, the educator who I'm talking to right now, just, I'm making this fact up right now. So you don't say that's not a true fact. That would be what my professor would say. But I would say something like, did you know that 70% of people that get into hospitality go into finance and investment and property management? Because a lot of times, a lot of parents right now, because our industry got hit so bad, say, why would you ever go in the hotel industry? You're going to work at a restaurant? Are you kidding me? Well, getting a degree in hospitality doesn't mean that you're always making beds. It means you could become a GM. You could be a regional. You could be an investor. You could work on the business side of it, like Doug has done over his career. So there's so many things. So I really appreciate you asking that. But as an educator in hospitality, hugely important to be out there and doing things on LinkedIn and even Instagram. Are there any other comments on increasing visibility, Kim?
No, someone just added a point, I think, to elaborate on your point, is texting, emailing, social media. I think maybe to suggestions too of what those touch points look like. So I think traditionally in sales, we think it's that cold call, but there are, as Cindy has mentioned, so many different ways for us to be reaching out. And in this case, for the educator, we're promoting the industry, right? We're promoting hospitality as a way to keep generating business and keep generating interest and keep growing our businesses.
Right. So Doug, as an example, I mean, you obviously have been in this business and stayed extremely visible and relevant. It's about local chapters. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, a couple things. First, I do want to mention something to the educator because I serve on the board for the Hilton College here at the University of Houston. And one of the things that's important, not only the touch points of getting the word out about the university and the college itself, is the amount of effort that you make to reach out to the students in their environment, as well as reaching out to the potential recruits through Hospitality Educators Association, et cetera. Back to your points with regards to the industry itself, touching people or reaching out to people doesn't just necessarily mean social media as well. You have to have feet on the ground in organizations that these people are part of. So if your clients are part of BOMA, Building Office Managers Association, or Apartment Managers Association, how often do you go to a lunch to them? And do you meet them? Do you go to HLA, Hotel Lodging Association luncheons? Do you go to, it's an old deal, but it still plays, are you a member of NACE? Are you a member of HSMAI? Do you go and participate in those activities? Are there charities within your organization that you can participate in? Because just about everybody from Hilton to Marriott, et cetera, all have charity organizations that you can participate in, get your name out, see other people, and enlist other people's help. And by doing so, meet other people and continue those touch points.
Exactly. And that couldn't be more true. I don't know if somebody raised their hand. I saw a hand pop up. Natal, was it?
I think it went back down. They might have.
Okay.
If you raised your hand and intended to, just raise it again or send something in the chat because it popped back down. So
all right,
I'm assuming they did it on accident.
So, as we look at this, everyone needs a very fresh perspective. Okay. I mean, like the world is a great spot. And, I can't wait. I've got my vaccine card. I've got I'm ready, like any country, I'm ready to go, but you can't lose momentum. And as Doug said, you have to be present. I'm going to talk about social media in a moment. I'm going to talk about calls like this. I don't think that there will ever be a time again that we don't have one-on-one calls where we're not using Google Meet or Microsoft Teams or Zoom. Prior to COVID, we just were on the phone with each other or we were doing a conference call, right? Now it's always, I'll send a Zoom invite and it might be myself and Neil or Doug, and we're just talking together. It's not a big presentation. So the 100 touch points a week are not just dial. It's, if you're in food and beverage, it's out there meeting people, it's talking to customers, it's about going to the NACE events, it's about going to these association events, it's about your school activities, your alumni associations, it's about asking, your general manager or your director, whoever that is, I would love to participate in Rotary or whatever. And there is so many different ways to up your game. But social media, whenever I talk to the schools, I always say it can make or break you today. Okay, so we all know that, unless you're 16, and I think everybody's learned their lesson, there's a lot of people now that have been destroyed over the years because of what they posted back then. Well, it all catches up with you. I've always been a firm believer, don't put anything out there that you wouldn't care who read. I always said my grandma. I always said to myself, I'll never say anything or do anything that if my grandma's watching me from heaven, she honestly would go, are you kidding me? Okay. So you always think about that. I don't talk politics. I don't talk religion. I don't make fun of COVID. I don't go off on any of that. My opinion doesn't count. I talk about the positive outlook of the hospitality industry and travel. So on LinkedIn, for the educators, you should be putting insights out there. You should be putting things out there of what would be good for me to read. That's how we get more people to want to go to our school. Instagram, great shots of travel. Today, my Instagram feed is my Tuesday travel. So I have, because I work with a lot of the wineries, I have a wine case that has my name on it. And if you follow me, Cindy _Novotny, please follow me. You will see my customized wine case. It said, I left LAX with it empty and I'll be coming back with it full. Okay. And the whole idea is it was promoting Chandon, our client, but it gives people inspiration. First of all, I'm getting messages like, where do you get that bag? Like, how do you get that bag? I said, well, they sell them at Chandon. They sell them at all the wineries, but it's fun things. It's proactive things. And, people say to me, like, there's an example. Well, what if you're promoting drinking? What if I don't drink? Okay, first of all, I'm in the hospitality industry. I teach people to sell food and beverage. I work in the Middle East with some countries and some people that don't drink at all, but yet in the hotels, they're serving alcohol. Think of Saudi. I work in Riyadh all the time. I'm teaching them in some of the places like in Dubai, how to sell alcohol. Some of them do a better job selling it because they never sip it and taste it. They just describe what they learn. Facebook, all of these, you're posting daily, one thing a day. Your personal videos will grab you more traction than any curated businessy videos. Now, again, these are professional. They're not professionally done. You're doing them with your iPhone, but it's like a video of, I have somebody posted today, a robin's nest, okay, in a tree, and you could see they zoomed in the little eggs. I mean, it got more, and it was a hotel person. It got more love than you can imagine. All right. And more because that is in the moment, and that's storytelling. Selling today is all about storytelling. People don't buy facts. So even educators, the best teachers, the best professors I ever had in my life taught me to tell stories. I mean, they taught me, probably hence why I'm not building a bridge or something, because the math classes weren't my best, right? But they taught me to tell stories, and I elaborate, I educate. And that's to this day, when I'm upselling a great steak, or I'm upselling somebody to, buy this bottle of wine over that, I'm telling a story. I'm telling the romance of how it started. I'm telling about, a gentleman that came to Napa when, Napa wasn't even popular. And I talk about the book, Wine and War. And I talk about how the Europeans came over. People are like, what is that book? And they're literally like looking it up online. And that is entertaining people because you are escaping from the ordinary. You're pulling yourself back. And that's honestly, that's what makes you popular. Competition is all over the place. So at the beginning of COVID, when I did a couple commencement speeches for like UNLV and, I did some things for your school, we did AHL, Cornell. I have to say, I was a little like, well, great job. You're going to go out there and make it happen. And I'm thinking, and hundreds of thousands of us have been laid off or furloughed. But I gave them the positive outlook of the future. I said, we will get through this. And if anybody knows how to get through this, It's the hospitality industry. Look at Galveston, look at the hurricanes, look at California. We've had fires. I'm up in an area right now that last year I was here in August and everything was burning around me. You should see in Napa and Sonoma all the brand new tiny grapevines because all the other ones burned and they come back. This is how you're different and this is how you're brave. It is making your job exciting and it's actually really showing a customer, whoever you're talking to, that you are personally setting yourself apart from the competition. And if you're looking for a job right now, because some of you might be, how does your social media look? What exciting creative things have you put out there to give yourself that creative edge to set yourself apart from everybody else? I will say, transactional sales don't really need people anymore. We know what Amazon is. That's called transaction. They've got the algorithms. They know how to do it. Every time I buy something on Amazon, I always get everybody that bought that, bought this. And then I'm just compelled. I'm like, oh, well, then I better get that. You know, I bought these little flags, you know, happy spring, happy day, happy Mother's Day. And then there was a couple holidays I missed. And of course, oh, and it comes right to you because they're so smart. Oh, I see you missed happy this and happy that. And I'm like, well, I better get it. I mean, how can I leave that out? So we are not in an industry that is all about transaction. Of course, we've got all the channels to book online, all of that. But when it comes down to an event or celebration, or I'm booking your 50th birthday party in my restaurant, it is about giving you something to remember. It's about allowing you to remember my restaurant, my condominium complex, like Doug said. It's making my solutions, my ideas stand out. And that only comes from being extremely curious. I can't wow you, just so you know. I can't say, I'm going to put on the best 50th party for you. You don't, if I don't know you and I didn't ask you any questions, how do I know what's going to wow you? I love when people go, I'm going to exceed your expectations. And I look at them, I go, you don't even know me. You don't even know what I expect, right? So it is about how you sell. It does matter. What your processes are matters. But the most important thing is how you make people feel. So again, I hate to give you like the bad stories. I got a lot of good ones too, but you'll see those because I put no bad stories on my social media. Again, last week I checked in. I'm traveling around working and I'm working for a corporation. I'm staying at another hotel. So I'm not actually staying, but this happens to be a client hotel of ours. So I've already been on the phone with their regional VPs, but I'm not training in that hotel. So I get we're low staffed everywhere. It's hard to get people. So we check in. They said, no, you know, we don't have any housekeeping. I said, no, I know that. That's totally fine with me. I mean, I've been making my bed. I'm one of those, I started in housekeeping, so I still make my bed in a hotel every day. It's good practice for me. And I said, that's no problem. So I get to my room, there's no bellman, and it's a spread out resort. So I'm lugging my luggage, lugging. I get to my room. It is the biggest disaster you've ever seen. Forget housekeeping. The mattress is on the floor. The bedding's all, I don't even know where it is. There's empty coffee cups. It actually looked like it was just ransacked, okay? So I call nobody answers. I call the operator, nobody answers. Now, I just leave my luggage. I don't care if people stole it. I didn't even care. I just leave my luggage. I walk all the way back. That's how I get my steps in. All the way back, the same girl at the front desk who clearly can't answer the phone because, you know, she's checking people in. I took a picture of the room. I showed her the picture and I said, I get that there's no housekeeping after I check in, but I was hoping there was housekeeping before I checked in. I mean, COVID and all, you know, I mean, there's a screen in front of her. I'm having to wear a mask. She's got the gloves on. We're Cloroxed up. I'm wiping down and she went, oh my gosh. Well, of course, you know, then I got upgraded to a suite and got a bottle of wine. I mean, but I wasn't even I'm not one of those people. But she immediately, like that, calmed me down. If she'd have been like, well, you know, we're really understaffed and, you know, it is COVID, because I get that too. Not at all. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me go ahead. There must have been miscommunication on what we thought. Totally got it. Because it was how she engaged with me. And all of you need to remember that. You are the only one that can limit your greatness. Nobody else can do it. You have to have a solid plan. If you're in sales, what is your plan? What do you want to sell? How much do you want to sell? If you're selling memberships to a spa or to a fitness center or a wine club, pay attention to the metrics. If you're in room sales, doesn't matter that we have no budget from 2020. We get it. And we're not going to really look at 2019 numbers. I get it, because they were like phenomenal, right? So, but the key is you've got to help find ways to be more creative. You have to also remember that you want to use technology to your advantage. Don't hide behind technology. Don't hide behind technology. So this particular hotel company that I work for that had a bit of a situation, I got on the phone with the regional VP who I know, and I said, look, and I don't post anything bad about anybody, anytime. I said, so here's the deal. All you need is an app, like just an app. When people check in, I just didn't enjoy. I was in high heels. I was tired. I traveled. I didn't enjoy walking all the way back. Now, granted, it was probably good for me. It was a good little walk. But the idea is you need an app, and it wouldn't have been that hard. And he's like, well, we have an app. I said, well, then why didn't they tell me when I check in? Because COVID brought, everybody got an app. I'm like, but no one's using the app because no one tells them about, he goes, well, I didn't know they aren't. Because again, he's got 25 hotels he's looking over. So the key is in your job right now, whoever you are, whoever you work for, you know what's working and you know what's not. And that gap is a systemic problem in the root cause. Now, Brianna did raise her hand. Brianna, do you have a question that you would like to either ask or type in the chat box? Brianna? Maybe she just made a mistake. But Brianna, we're here for you. Do not worry.
Just be careful. It's like an auction. If you raise your hand, you might
raise your hand.
You
just bought the art. So let's take a moment and talk a little bit about that social media and digital outreach. First of all, you want to look at who you are. You are a brand too, just so you know. And the more you put yourself out there, the more you get into active selling. And the more you get into active selling, the more presence you have. And I will tell you right now, I get 1 to 5 leads a day from LinkedIn, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. And those leads allow me to build more business because they are new people. And the reason I'm getting those leads is that people see me that have never met me before. And I've been in the business a very long time. So your LinkedIn profile, you should have a very professional background. You can go to mine, Cindy Novotny. You can look at mine. That, kind of landscape on the top, that's free advertising. That shouldn't just be the blue LinkedIn. It should have a picture of your hotel or a restaurant, or at least picture of food if you're in the food business. Or if I was Doug, it'd be a cool place of his, 4-star condo, or it might be a golf course that I sell. That image is important. You have to have a professional photo. You can't have your high school or college photo of you when you were a cheerleader. I did see that the other day. I'm sorry. Although you were cute, that was 15 years ago. You got to have something. And in LinkedIn, it's less of the cocktails and it's more of, you can take it with an iPhone, a cute smile. That's it. The strategic headline is not a title. It is a headline in a movie. I create amazing events. I take care of residents. I'm thinking of Doug. I take care of our residents and help them in the most important thing in their life, which is their home. You see what I mean? So it's not like I'm a general manager so it's something that grabs someone's attention. Your summary, you should take, the first bit of your summary should be about the company you work for. So even if it's just one restaurant or a hotel, just take it right from their website. The second bit of your summary should be I help people, make their memories come true with special events. I am an educator, back to our educators that are listening. I help people craft a future based on the knowledge they will learn by going to boom, right? Not just like I'm academia, that's what I do, I'm a professor. You also want to make sure that when you get like love letters, okay? People say, you really helped me, you did the best job ever, you were incredible. And you then say to them, I would love it if you could put that on my LinkedIn profile. You can't put the recommendation on there, they have to. Your education, obviously, other social media activities, but unless you're looking for a job, don't make your resume or your LinkedIn look like a resume. If you're looking for a job, then it's got to look like a resume. But you want to personalize everything to make it that much stronger. So you have to be very present everywhere. The bottom line is that, Doug and I remember that we worked together. I mean, we were invited to be on this together, and I haven't seen him in years, but all it took was us going back, knowing when I worked with this group, And, you know, he was an incredible leader, and he had an incredible ability to have people grow and really learn under him. But let me ask you, Doug, just about leadership, because I think we've got leaders listening and we've got people that want to be leaders. You know, what are your thoughts on what leaders have to do to be present today and everywhere?
Leaders have to take responsibility, number one. I mean, you are responsible. One of the reasons that our division of 60 hotels over which I operated were carrying 48% of the bottom line for 350 hotels is because we look for people who took full responsibility for the actions on their property. And when you do that, if you are a sales director, or if you are a food and beverage manager, or if you are whatever, you take responsibility for everything that goes on in that department. You are upfront, always available, understand your people, you know your people. This makes a leader. If you don't have any interest in the people that work with you, for whom you have a charged responsibility for their future, then you're not going to succeed.
Exactly.
And when you have a client, you have that responsibility as well. It doesn't stop in closing the deal and signing the paperwork. As Cindy well knows, if you don't show up at the front desk during a check-in and meet the person that's coming in, or make sure that their needs are met, check the blocks that are ahead of time, you're not doing your job. Those are the things that make a leader in the industry, that make you get noticed by the people that are above, because you will always have a strong following. One of the things that I say in my class on guest management and guest service is point blank, create an experience. If you don't create an experience, they're not going to remember you. It doesn't do any good for them to say they're satisfied. It's like Cindy said, she was welled over by the person who turned around and recognized there was a mistake made and gave her an upgrade, sent her a bottle of champagne, and she went, yeah, okay, fine, these people are all right. So if you don't say, are you satisfied, but did you have a memorable experience with us? That's what you're looking for, because they will come back. A hotel is a hotel is a hotel. You make the difference.
Exactly. And so this is your time to thrive. This is your time to make a big, big difference in your life, because there are going to be so many new opportunities out there, and you've got to be the one that does figure that out. Is my internet going slow right now? I feel like I'm talking funny. I can't hear you, Kim. What'd you say?
It's okay. I
It's
think you're
okay.
okay.
All
I'll
right.
let you know if it gets really out of whack, and then we'll.
Sometimes if it gets really out of whack, I make people dizzy. So that's when we say, take yourself off camera for a minute. So I want you to think about, as we start to like wrap this up, we want a lot of Q&A. We have no problem you asking a lot of questions, and you can ask them right now. You know, well, I saw a few things in there that were statements, and I love that. But I look at the new attitude of grit. You know, it's about new ideas and great creative projects that are going to help your company or whoever you are, or you might be, you know, an entrepreneur yourself. You have to find ways to be creative to get more business. And don't get discouraged when you get no. I always say, like, I just don't want no. Can you just say maybe? That's what I say. I learned to say that with my parents when I was very young. You know, no, you can't do that. I go, well, you know, can you just give thought to that? And tomorrow morning when we get up, maybe we can get to a maybe, right? I am so focused on my goals. If I was so focused on like exercise goals, oh, I might have been like a model, I think, honestly. I mean, I don't have any goals when it comes to like the running and all that, but I have business goals since I was a kid. I knew how much I wanted to save. I worked in a private club in Chicago right after I got out of college. And my boss said to me, if you sell these memberships, okay, this is how much you get every single one. My goal was 5 a night. And I had, you know, other servers like me make us like, why do you always work so hard to sell those? I'm like, because he gives us like $100 for each one. I mean, are you kidding me? That was like $1 million back then. And so I have always been very goal focused like that. So think about how you have to work harder than your competition. If you're looking for a job today, your competition is all the other great talent that, by the way, was furloughed or laid off, and they're all coming back to work. You have to accept the challenges. You know, this is not going to be, I wish this was just like wipe the slate, we're done, COVID's over. But I mean, we're almost to May and we're still having moments, right? So we're going to have challenges and keep having challenges, but our job is to accept those and figure out ways around them and look for new customers. I also, if you work in a hotel, because I know I've got people from different kinds of backgrounds here and everything, but if you work at a hotel, I think it's sad that we do not reach out to the bellmen, to the housekeepers, to the people, the cooks, the line cooks, the people that are cleaning the toilets, like honestly, and say, let's do some, like, what are some good ideas of new kinds of business? You know, every time I would reach out, like I always worked for hotels that had owners that always had no money, like always, okay? Like, you know, no, we have no money, no capital, no nada. And so as a director of marketing with some of these hotels, I had to get very clever. So I would reach out, and again, we didn't have email back then, you know, I'm kind of aging myself, but that was the way it was. And I would do like town hall meetings with the general manager. And we'd say, look, we're looking for an incredible like violinist because we want to do this. Is anybody? And like 10 hands would go up. Like a guy that like works on the front line, is a line cook doing French in the French fryer, was like an incredible violinist, but nobody ever talked to him. Artists. Like they became, when we had no money to pay, now we paid them as an employee, but then they also got like bonus treats. And so we weren't bringing in an outside, we were giving our own people, like a person that did the invitations for our holiday party. You know, she worked in housekeeping and didn't even speak English, and her calligraphy was over the top. And so I think as hoteliers, you know, we always say we're a family. I mean, and sometimes it's like, wow, you're a dysfunctional family, because a real family does have a GM like Doug that says like, come on, I am at the front desk. If I would call Doug and sales and say, Doug, I need you to be down here to meet this guest, they're coming in. Doug's the kind of guy that would be there. That's what we need. We need the real old-fashioned hoteliers to come back to work. And if you currently are listening and you lost sight of that and you sit in your office and do reports all day for your ownership group, then we've lost our way. And that is something we can't do, because the heart of hospitality is the word hospitality. Okay. Like it's not the heart of asset management. All right. We do have to make money. We do have to have zero defect, but it's really every one of us. It's you. You are the heart of hospitality. It is the best industry in the world to be in, because there's a million places you can go. If you love finance, like seriously, and love Excel, love that, then you can go work for an owner and be an asset manager and have an incredible career. But in hospitality, you do need compassion. You do need clarity. There's too many mixed messages. I mean, too much. And so many people hide behind email today. Like, stop, get on the phone and talk. The communication must have certainty. You know, I look at it like this. I am certain that we are not going back, but this is not my new normal. This is not my new normal. It may be the next normal, but this is not my new normal. We will be back all sitting around tables, and we will be hugging, and we will be saying hi, and we will be having, like, you know, a buffet of some sort. Maybe, you know, we had sneeze guards for heaven's sakes and everybody was fine. I mean, we'll figure it out on how to get to that next level. But it takes people like you that can make that difference. You need the motivation to be able to say, I got a great idea. Now, if you work for a GM and you go and say, well, I was on this webinar and, you know, you weren't on it, but, you know, she brought up that we should get everybody together, and they say, oh, it's ridiculous, then just call me. And then Doug and I'll call him or her, and we'll give them a little feedback, and we'll go, wow, please, can you just be open? We need innovation. We need persistence. We need people that have the ability to make a difference every single day. See, it's not your job. It's not the customer's job to remember you. No. It's your obligation to make sure they never forget you. Again, the airports right now. I've been in airports since last year. Okay, Kim and I, we've been traveling all over. We started traveling in May of last year. And, you know, when there's usually 15 Starbucks at an airport, there may be one, and the line's like out and you're really wanting that little latte. Well, over the holidays, I actually was like, I don't even drink a lot of those sweetie kind of coffees, but I was kind of like, I needed a little Christmas in a cup for a minute. And so, I mean, I was tired. This woman could tell. I went up and she was like, "Are you on your way home? Have you been traveling a lot?" I said, "Yeah." And I just ordered a latte. She said, "No, I'm going to sprinkle some nutmeg on that latte." Okay. I mean, I didn't think I liked nutmeg. Now I love it, by the way. And I looked at her, I said, "Well, that's nice of you." She said, "My name's Jeannie, and you'll never forget me because I don't just sell coffee. I make people's days." And Jeannie, by the way, this was at Chicago. Every time I've gone back through O'Hare, I like if I've got time, I whip over to where that is and I go, "Hi, is Jeannie there?" There's been a few times that she has been working. So with that, we've got a few minutes left and we can take as long as you need. We would love to answer any questions that you have. Our contact information is on here as well. But Kim, do we have some questions?
Yeah, there is a question that came in. With the amount of labor shortage we have today, how do we keep our existing employees motivated?
Yes. So first and foremost, because I get it, I have a restaurant and we're doing double the work. We took 6 parking stalls and built a cool rooftop deck on the street. And we're never giving it back to the city, by the way, because that's really doing well. And they're taking on more tables and they're doing everything. So here's what we did. We actually are making some money in that restaurant with all the stuff we added on. So we're rewarding them in a different way. Okay. We still have to pay the money. We still were closed down for a little bit, but we are rewarding people. Now, if you're working, doing more with less and not making any money, then you can't actually do that. But there are different ways to reward. There are different ways to say, "You know what? We appreciate you and we may not be able to give you this much money at this point," or maybe they took cuts in pay. Our team, we all took cuts in pay. Maybe we can't do this, but here's what we can do. Maybe we're more flexible with them on being able to take off a couple hours to go pick up their child from school or go to their ballet lesson. And then you as the manager cover for them. Management, I've been working night and day. Kim's been working night and day. We're leaders in our company, okay? We've had to give other people on our team, like, yes, you can go. Of course you can go on vacation, even though like there was no money and everybody took cuts in pay. This is where management has to step it up. And even if I'm an assistant manager, I have to do it. Now, some of you might work in a company where it is about the hourlies. It is about maybe we can't do the overtime, depending on like what you're dealing with. But yes, you can get creative in that. But the key is that you talk to them. The key is you sit down, "I appreciate you." The key is that, yes, of course you can do that. No, of course. Kim, there's things because she has a little adult, well, she's got 3 kids, but her boys are older, but her daughter, we're flying to the East Coast on Mother's Day. And I'm a mother too. She's a mother, but it wasn't even about Mother's Day because she would have flown on Mother's Day. But it's, her daughter's kind of like, it's the birthday kind of, is it the birthday or the celebration?
It's her birthday.
It's a birthday.
On Mother's Day.
And Mother's Day. And they've been planning this forever. Okay. And Kim was like, "Okay, I know I got to, and I said, "Of course, Kim, I'll cover for you. I'm getting in." Mary then, on the other hand, who's going with us, had already planned to go on this big camping trip with, she likes that camping, with the boyfriend. And so I said, "No, Kim and I'll stay then on the Friday. We'll fly home on the Saturday." This is what you do. And this is where you pull yourself up from the bootstrap and you help everybody else out because we are low staff. But I got to tell you, I did draw a line in the sand with my team. And I did that back in April of last year when we got the PPP. And in a restaurant, as you know, you can't use the PPP if you have no employees and if you're closed. So we, in the face of adversity, opened our restaurant, did it outside. Our governor wasn't excited about life. And we just went against all odds and we opened it up. I had five top employees on my team that have been there for a long time making serious money say to me, "We'll come back, but are you going to offset how much we made in our tips before COVID?" With HR on one side of me and a lawyer on the other on the Zoom call, I said, "No, because we don't have any money. And if you want to come back as soon as the money comes back, and it will, because these customers will tip and we will get it back, you'll do fine. No, as soon as they come back, as soon as the money's there, we'll come back." I said, "So I accept your resignation." "No, I'm not resigning." I said, "Yeah, you are. That's what I'm hearing." I have a today team and a tomorrow team. You've got to be in it with me through the tough stuff to be in it with me at the end. And so there are some people that you might have lost along the way that don't just hire the next warm body. That's my answer. Long answer to a question, but anyway, Kim, others.
I do. I've been muted. I want to make sure if he had something he wanted to add there. But
Doug, do you have something to add to that?
Well, basically, you can't lead from the office. You have to be out in front. You have to be out there. You talked about leadership earlier, and especially in lean times, tough times. And I'm not going to, we want to have more questions in. So, but the big thing to the message to the GMs that are out there, the department heads that are out there, this is a time for you to step up to the plate. You've worked hard to get where you are, but the people that are working in line positions also need to be able to lean on you when they have to. As Cindy said, everybody pulls together as a team, which makes it successful. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to be successful. And when things open up even further, those people are going to remember that and stay someplace else or go to work someplace else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so a couple of comments and questions. Kathleen, I think it says very important to take care of your associates. You are right, she says, management to step it up. And I think just to elaborate on both what Cindy and Doug have said, because I'm a super big advocate of leadership and how important leadership is people just want to hear that they're appreciated. I think everyone understands that it's tough going. And I think throughout the last year, people were willing to stick it out. Obviously, just grateful to have a job, even if it meant I'm working harder or whatever, just grateful. But I think they just needed to hear, thanks for doing that. Like, I understand you're working more than you have. I know this is hard for you. I know that it's tough for your family. Whatever it is, whatever they're doing that's going the extra mile, whatever's stressing them out, I think we just have to acknowledge that and say thank you and not just brush them aside and just assume that people are going to continue to work their tails off just because, but rather that they want to feel like it's making a difference and that they're appreciated for the efforts that they're doing. I think that can go a long way. All right, so we have a couple, there's one question, a couple of questions. One is another educator question. I am teaching a career class. What would you like future workers in hospitality to know? What classes do they need to take in high school to help them in the future?
Okay, first of all, I'm a strong believer in having a utility worker mentality. And I call that meaning the things they need to take in school. First of all, in high school, they need to have some business classes. I think we missed the boat on sales, like anything we can give them, or even having keynote speakers come in or speak on a Zoom class. I've done that with some of the high schools, you know, where we do things just locally, or I've done a few Zoom, because they need to know that no matter what kind of you know, job they're going to get. If I'm going to be a server, I should learn about, you know, how to be a barista at the same time. Maybe I'm in high school, I wouldn't be able to learn about mixology. But if, let's say I'm working in a nice restaurant, then teach me how to do the cappuccinos and how to do those things. If I want to be a GM someday, and that's, you know, then have them take leadership, have leadership classes, but a utility type of mentality, I think, is important. I also saw, Kim, it said hospitality is marketing and management cooperating with the industry, and like the creative selling ideas and storytelling. As the high school culinary educator, this year's been more about technology. Thanks for the motivation to move forward without excuses. Absolutely. So one of the things, because we did this in our restaurants, I mean, now that I think about it, we should have reached out to all these culinary educators because in the schools, but we would have, you know, the mixology, you know, I taught how, had one class where we taught people how to make ceviche. I mean, it's not easy, okay? It's not easy. And we had more people, and these were our customers, but anything you can do is, especially in high school, is people have got to get back to understanding hard work. I don't care how affluent their school is. I don't care if it's not affluent. The utility worker mentality. I can work the front desk. I can clean a room. I can sweep up that starts. And I, you know, parents, I speak to them all the time because I think we have free range parenting like crazy. People just like let their kids like free range chicken. They just go all over the place. I am about some good old fashioned values of you got to be a good leader and get people to understand that it does take hard work. And if you can get that across in high school, if I love, like I have a nephew, great nephew actually, who's 10. You know, I got him little cooking things that they deliver to the Red Radish or whatever it's called. He wants to be a chef. He's 10. And we're saying to him, you know, first when he goes to the restaurants with my sister, his grandma, he'll always go, can I help sweep up? I mean, like they take him in the back. It's like, I said, you know, to be a good chef, you're gonna have to learn how to clean too. And so I think that I'm so glad that I was able to touch on some of that. I think that's important. Was there any other questions, Kim?
I don't see any others. So this would be your chance to quick get a couple more in, and then.
And I did put in there how you can follow me.
Yeah.
I answer all direct messages. I'm very engaging with people.
Cindy,
Well,
can
and
I,
Nancy just shares her comment. This has been an excellent webinar, probably one of the best I've listened to in ages. So thanks, Nancy. Way to go, Cindy.
Cindy,
Yeah.
Megan agrees.
Cindy, I'd like to just make a statement that I always make to the classes that I teach, and that is basically be the change. This is a quote from Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world.
Right.
So carry that with you when you're out there, because it's easy to criticize, but take a look at what you want to change and be that change. It's very important. Be successful. Know what your 3, 5-year, 10 plan is for you and how that fits into the company that you're working with. And always remember, you've got the best job in the world, as Cindy talked about earlier. You're not sitting in an office all day long. You have also the ability to change people's lives for the better every time you come in contact with them. So that's my 2 cents on this one. All right.
I love Kelly. Kelly, I love you. I taught her as a little baby reservation agent over 25 years ago. Wow. You know, what's scary for me now, everyone, is when people walk into a class and say, oh my gosh, I was so excited to meet you because you trained my mother. I'm like, excellent. I'm like, and then where is your mom today? And then they'll say, oh, she's retired. She and my dad. I'm like, excellent. But anyway, Kelly, thank you. And thank you to everyone. And Neil, I'll go ahead, I guess, and turn it over to you to close everything out.
Yeah, not a problem. Just before I close everything out, I'm going to pass it to Christy Spradling, who's another member of the THLA team, to say a few words.
I just wanted to take a quick moment. My name is Christy Spradling. I'm the Associate Director of Membership for Texas Hotel and Lodging, and we wanted to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Short course is near and dear to all of our hearts here at THLA. And a special thank you for Jessica De La Cruz for working with Cindy and Kimberly and Doug and our entire team to get this organized. I am posting right now in the chat my contact information. You've got my cell phone number and my email, as well as the contact information for our director, Carolyn McCall Squires. Anybody that has questions about their login information as a member is welcome to reach out to us. We have so many educational resources that are available to you. We want to make sure that you're able to log in and have access to that information. So please grab those numbers and telephones and emails there, and feel free to reach out. We're happy to share and make sure you have the updated information so you can have access to all of the resources available to you. And with that, I will go ahead and I'll pass back to Neil. Thank you all again for joining us.
But thank you, everybody, for joining today. To all the participants who are still on the line and sending their comments in, I just want to remind everyone, like Doug said at the beginning of this call, this is a true snapshot of what short course is like. So if you enjoyed this, hour and 15-minute session, I can guarantee you that you're going to have a world of a time join short course in person. You get to network, you get to meet people like Doug and Sydney and Kimberly and the THLA staff, and as well as colleagues in the industry across the state. So I urge all of you to keep an eye out for when we have the live in-person session. We're going to have another 2 sessions just like this with other expert speakers, one in the summer and one in the fall. So we look forward to having you guys join in on that one. Sydney and Doug and Kimberly, thank you guys very much. THLA is always grateful for your wisdom and everything you have to share. So with that, I will go ahead and close out the session, and I hope everybody has a good day. I think we had one final question. Is this recorded from Nancy? Yes, it is. You can reach out to Christy. Is it okay to reach out to you or Jessica to go ahead and get the recording?
I believe the information will probably go out through Jessica, but Nancy, feel free to go ahead and reach out to me. My telephone number was 214-802-2449. And that email is cspradling, SPRADLING @texaslodging.com. And that information is also available on our website.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Christy. And again, thank you to everyone. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day.
Cindy, it was great working with you again.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks. And I'll see you next time I'm in Houston, Doug. All
Good
right.
deal.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Thank you, guys.